So, up, everybody, welcome back. Hope you had a good week. Hope you've been enjoying what's going on in the world to your extent. I'm looking now to see uh, if I want to cover anything happening with IBM. And there's some things that's happening. I don't know if I want to cover it on this one. May make a do a little show on it. We'll see. But we got other fish to fry. Gotta get shout outs this morning. Uh, Shout out to my mom's friends. Sending my condolences as well on their losses, mothers and husbands as well. Um, go to the Red Hat Conference. You get your Red Hat. How about that? All right, let's give a shout out. Start from top. Dendrick. I hope about Dendrick. I hope I said that correctly. Cody Evelyn. Multi Black Dub. Bless Aries. Shout out to you. I guess it's supposed to be IRS Stevens, but I'm gonna call you IRS Stevens. That's what I'm gonna call you. Earl Grey and the Intentional Millionaire. What's going on with you? And for those that never ever speak and just watch and lurk, pa, 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 shout out to you. As well. Shay, what's going on? Do you offer a Linux course? If so, when? That's interesting you said that. Because that means you didn't come to the meetup on Wednesday. That means you're not part of meetup.com group. That's what that means. Because if you were there, you would have got the first intro to Linux and what we went over and what I'm doing. Boom. Miss V, you gotta come on, gotta come through. Y'all gotta come check us out. We have fun. We have fun. What's going on, Sasha? How you doing? We're gonna get into some job placements today. Um, Pull up some stuff. We have a little fun. We'll have a little fun, and probably start off with this one here. This is probably where I'm gonna start. I'm pulling over my links right now. So let's get started with this one. All right. And my screen is shared. And let me blow that up a little bit more because when it come on, I want you guys to actually see it. All right, cool. All right. So this comes from Investor Place. What's up, John? How you doing? And we're gonna talk about a little bit about AI. We're gonna talk about some data centers. We're gonna talk about new technology coming out from quantum computing to GPS. What does it look like going forward? And I got so many. I probably got about three more to pull from, but we'll get started with this one. So, all right. So say hello to the $400 billion AI bazooka aimed at the market. Um, we're gonna have to talk about what's going on with not just AI, but data centers in neighborhoods. I don't know if you all ever caught that it was an article floating around about a week, maybe 2 weeks ago, about in Virginia how they built all these data centers around this neighborhood, and now the people are like, no more data centers in the neighborhood. But what isn't being talked about is the effect of those data centers in those neighborhood on the people, the community, the health, and so forth. I think that's going to be another focus and angle as these data centers keep getting built and so forth. I think that's going to be a big thing as we continue to build out these data centers health wise and the link backs and so forth, right? So again, like they say, exposure to pollutants from power generation, noise pollutants, potential hazard to electrical equipment, and potential hazards from electrical equipment and chemicals. Those are going to be those are going to be ongoing things. But what is the long term effects from you as an adolescent or you as a child living in a neighborhood, something like a Loudoun County, that's getting exposed to these data centers. So um, as we continue, don't rule out healthcare and the health effects of data centers as well too as another industry, as we continue to build and stuff. So uh I'll also be looking at the data from that, so how to do data analysis from that, so a data engineer or something of that nature. All right, let's get busy. So, hello to the $400 billion AI bazooka aimed at the market. All right, so massive AI expenditures are driving the market. The hyperscale five, right? Hyperscale. If you're not sure where that term comes from, I think that comes from Gartner. Hyperscale. And let me look that up real quick too. How they define how is hyperscale defined? Let me look up that information. All right, hyperscale refers to the ability of a computing system, particularly in data centers and cloud platforms, to handle very large and rapidly changing workloads by dynamically scaling resources like servers and storage. It's a characterized by a massive scale, high efficiency, and ability to rapidly adapt to fluctuating demands. And let me pull this over so you guys can see what I'm reading. Key aspects of hyperscale: massive scale, dynamic scaling, efficiency, cloud computing resources, and then examples of hyperscalers is what we're seeing in the first part of this article. All right, so here they're talking about Meta, Microsoft, Alphabet, Amazon, and other major cloud operators. Don't rule out Oracle as well, because they just did a contract with OpenAI for 30 billion, so don't rule them out. Are expected to spend 400 billion on AI infrastructure in the next 12 months, with projections approaching 1 trillion annually by 2030. So remember that conversation that I always keep having about infrastructure. What is AI infrastructure? What does it look like to be on the infrastructure side of the house? All right. I think the latest report now is that I think it says what is it? Is it 600,000 now unemployed Black women? Is that what I think? That's the new report, right? Is that the new report? Three, 600,000. Let me see. That's what I heard. I know about the 300,000, but our last I saw was 600,000. Last I heard. Let me say it that way. Now, Tameika's thoughts. These are just Tameika's random thoughts. On the infrastructure side of the house, people are still employed and they're looking to hire more people. And you're saying, Tamika, no, we're in a crisis right now. They're laying off people left and right. Haven't you read the reports? I have, but I'm just looking at my inbox and I'm just looking at what's out there, what people are looking for. And people are still looking for Linux engineers, system engineers. They're looking for solution architects. They're still looking for sysadmins dealing with Windows and Linux. They're still looking for Linux admins. They're still looking for VMware folks. They're still looking for people around cloud. They're still looking for DevSecOps. I don't see as many platform engineers. I see DevSecOps engineers cosplaying as platform engineers, uh, if you ask me. Um, but that's what I see, right? I also see a lot of folks looking for people to help build build AI infrastructure in the cloud and on prem, meaning the big push for OpenShift, the big push for OpenShift AI, OpenStack. I still see a big push for a hybrid model, whether it's building out edge nodes or building out clusters on on-prem servers and storage. So your HPs, your Dells, your Service Micros. That from that perspective, I still see that. I still see a big need to understand how storage works, how to speed up, how to fine tune a system. When I talk about fine tuning the system, meaning fine tuning the hardware, fine tuning the operating system, making sure you know how to pick the right hard drives that's going to give you the reaction time that you need, the CPU, the GPU, how do they operate? How do you get them going? I gave y'all the NVIDIA classes that you could go take for free and get NVIDIA certified from those classes as well too. There's also a list of classes that you can go take with Oracle. There's that there. I mean, there's so many different things that I've given you that you can get ramped up for free. Now you just got to figure out, okay, what is all the free stuff that I can do? How long is it going to take me, and who needs that skill set? Right. So to me, it just makes sense to work backwards. Find ten jobs that you think that are interesting to you. Just go with interesting for now, and look at the skill set that they require. Then look and see what you can get, what's common across all those, and then look for the five basic things that are common across those recs. And then once you find those five things, make those five things be your actual path in order to learn. And I can tell you off the rip what they are. You're going to need to know some networking. You're going to need to know some cloud. You can pick any programming language, in particular Python and Go, maybe even some Rust. And then the last but not least, you're gonna have to understand some aspect of security, and then again, pick something else like Kubernetes, OpenShift, um, containerization. Anything centered around containerization, Kubernetes, all of that is just a thing you're gonna have to learn, right? All right, put a one in the chat if you're keeping up with what I'm putting down. Making sure y'all are still alive out there. And I have my thing here. Yeah. Yep. All right, cool. All right, cool. All right, we got one from Dion. All right, got you. And making sure my stream one did. All right, so hyperscale, we explained what that is. Also talked about AI infrastructure. For those that are new to the channel, I am strictly on the line of infrastructure. I just think it's an easy money grab, and it's also a lifelong career. Without infrastructure, you have no cloud. Without infrastructure, you get no internet. So I don't know how to how to slice it. That's just what it is. Let me see. Let me give uh, structure and skill sets. So I just asked Chat GPT just so you guys can follow along with me and what I'm saying. I said, examples, basically, give me examples of AI infrastructure and skill sets. So, AI infrastructure examples are data infrastructure, so pipelines, warehouses, feature stores, transfer and load and transfer of data, ML networks, experiment tracking, distributed training, so forth and so on. So that's what they gave. But let's go down here to skill sets here. So you can see. So programming Python, Go, or Rust, like I stated. ML engineering, model training, feature engineering, hyperparameter tuning. Again, tuning, being able to tune the operating system, CI/CD, CI/CD, ETL, container orchestration, observability, and then AI infrastructure skills, cloud platforms, GCP, Vertex AI, Azure ML, AWS SageMaker, and Bedrock. Vector databases, RAGs, distributed systems, fault tolerant sharding, security compliance, identity access management, data encryption, GDPR, HIPAA, FedRAMP, specialized skills, LLM ops, fine tuning, quantization, prompt engineering, bias fairness for observability and AI, monitoring drift detection. And then you have to go back and look and say, well, what's observability in AI? What platform or what application offers that, right? How do you handle drift detection? Again, using some type of LLM to and then we start getting into configuration management that maintains all this data and says, hey, we recognize it, we're starting to recognize patterns here. This is about to go off, this is not going to be where you were at before. So we're detecting drift. All right, and then it says ensure AI infrastructure spans from data ingestion to model server and governance, while skill sets range from ML engineering to distributed systems, security, and cloud native operations. All right, then you can come in here and say, well, give me examples, give me skill sets for cloud native uh, operations and distributed systems. All right. So we're getting even. I'm breaking it. I'm distilling it down even further. Right. So now we're starting talking about foundational skills, containerization, or Docker and Podman, build lightweight, secure VMs. Secure portable images. And I want to bring this up right here because I want y'all to put this on your radar. Micro VMs. I want you to put this on your radar. I want you to put this on your radar. Micro VMs. I want you to go check that out. In terms of what it is, who's using it, it's gonna probably take some time to adopt, but I want you to start checking out micro VMs. Right? Came out, see here, 2022. Start talking about it at CNCF, and I think it's just now kind of making its way through the community. But just check it out. All right, just check it out. All right, next one, Kubernetes. All right, operators, Helm charts, customized, service mesh, Istio, Linkert, D, Envoy, CI/CD, Argo CD, Flux CD. When we're talking about GitOps, right? Infrastructure as code, Terraform, Pulumi, Crossplane, CI, GitLab CI, GitHub Actions, Jenkins, Policy as code, OPA, Caverno, observability, Prometheus, Grafana, Thanos, logging, Elk, Loki, tracing, Jaeger, open telemetry, chaos engineering, Gremlin, SRE practices, SLIs, SLOs, API gateway. I feel like somebody else saying this. Kong, Ambassador, Nginx, uh, Zero Trust, Vault, container security, Falco, Trivi, AWS. Like this is all cloud native skill sets that all wrap up into AI infrastructure and building and securing and so forth and so on. Um, let's hop down here to distributed systems, distributed architectures, the CAP theorem, messaging and streaming, Kafka, Robert Q, coordination with state management, Zookeeper, etcd console, consistency models, strong versus eventual consistency. I don't know why having a hard time with that word right now. Scalability and performance, load balancing, level 4, level 7. Understand the difference between those in the interview. That's going to help you out there. Partitioning and sharding, caching, optimizing throughput, fault tolerance and resilience, data system programming and development, concurrency and parallelism. This would be a good interview question there. Languages, Go for concurrency, Rust for memory safety, and Java for large scale systems. RPC, GRPC RPC frameworks, RPC, thrift, RO, event driven and reactive programming, and combined mindset is system thinking, performance engineering, automation scaling, and security by design. And it says cloud native operations focus on platforms and automation, while distributed systems or focus on architecture, scaling, and fault tolerance. Together, they're the backbone running AI, ML, and large scale apps reliably at scale. Would you like me to turn this to a side by side comparison slide deck? Yes. And I'll post this uh on what you call it. Right. So now you'll see you have a side by side basically what this is. And I gotta find and see if we got made a PowerPoint slide down here. What you mean, like add visuals? Sure, add visuals. Let's see what it gives us. Oh, here we go. Yep, there you go. I turned this into a PowerPoint and posted on online. All right, I'll post it on the community wall. All right, so then spending and is concentrated and self reinforces. Unlike past tech cycles, nearly every incremental dollar is going to AI specific infrastructure, data center, chips, networking, power, and cooling. This is where I think trades come into play for as HVAC and electrical was working on the data centers as well too, right? So understanding the networking, the power, and the cooling of a data center, um, that comes into play. The electrical piece of that, people that want to build on-prem data centers as well too, or storage rooms, or what have you, or labs, that's where that comes into play to me. Not going out and going door to door for X, Y, and Z. This is why there's the big push for the trades. It's because of this. Now, I think the bigger push is to own a trade company and have other people do the work for you while you collect checks. But that's just me, right? Um, Creating a compounded growth flywheel that fuels continuous demand. AI infrastructure stocks are the biggest beneficiaries. Companies across AI supply chain, from chip makers from Nvidia and Taiwan Semiconductor to power grid builders, network firms, and cooling solution providers, are seeing rapid stocks gain as big tech AI spending spree accelerates. All right, it says they're talking about the skeptics are out in force. They've got charts, historical parallels, breathless warnings, blah 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 blah. Big tech in the global economy. Let's stop pretending otherwise. Big tech doesn't just influence the global economic order. They are the global economic order. Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, Google, Amazon, Meta, Broadcom, Taiwan, Semiconductor, and Tesla. The valuations alone tell their story. We've also seen where everybody has reported that at least 80% of the folks that work at Nvidia are all millionaires. I think in 20% are worth 25 million, right? They are all trillion-dollar companies. If Nvidia and Microsoft were countries, they would rank as fifth and sixth largest economies in the world, bigger than India, the UK, Italy, Brazil, Canada, Russia, and Mexico. Big tech balance sheets make the most nation look like they're running lemonade stands. And these are behemoths that are all going all in on AI spending, not dabbling. The AI capex explosion. Once upon a time, as recently as 22, Meta annual capital expenditures hovered around 20 billion. That's a lot of servers, networking gear, but in big tech land, it was business as usual. Over the next 12 months, Meta is expected to spend $90 billion more than four times is in just 3 years, with the bulk aimed straight at AI infrastructure. They're not alone. Microsoft is spending less than 15 billion, was consistent spending less than 15 billion capex over the next year across expected to cross the $90 billion mark. A 6x increase. Alphabet, an annual capex of 20 billion, they're moving to 95. And the grand champion on all is Amazon is set to drop more than 120 billion over the next 12 months. So if you are not looking at what's going on the infrastructure side of all these tech companies, and just remember now how things work. Let me show you. Uh, so when Amazon eats, their partners eat. And why do I say that? Their partners eat because now they have so much work that's coming in, they can't do all the work, but the partners can, right? Their partners can. And so they're partners in several factors, right? Let me look and see if they got um what I'm looking for. Professional services, right? Professional services. I am also looking for their tiered partnership. Uh, okay, yeah, right here. Well, you got select tier service partners and AWS advanced tier service partners and AWS premier tier services partner, right? Just different type of partnerships. So when they eat, when those big companies eat, you eat if you're a partner, right? That's what that means. What makes the difference? What makes this different from any other spending cycle? The scale, the focus, the flywheel. AI infrastructure doesn't just sit there, it enables better AI models, which drive more products, which generate more revenue, which funds more infrastructure. This is a compounding growth, right? They're talking about where AI bazooka money lands. All of the money has to find a home, and Wall Street has been more than happy to receive it. The beneficiaries are spread throughout the entire AI supply chain. MP materials, right? Rare earth suppliers and so forth, commodity producers feeding chips and component manufacturers are seeing their order books filled for years in advance. Chip foundries and compute engines, Taiwan, Nvidia, memory and storage, Micron, Western Digital, Seagate, semiconductor, ASML, right? And these are all, if you notice here, what they've done is they've given you the ticker symbol as well too, for you to go figure out what if you want to invest in them or not, right? Lam Research, Applied Materials, Asteria Labs, Marvel, Data Center Networking, Optics, Arista Networks, Lumenton, and Coherent Power Generation, cooling and infrastructure, Dell. Don't forget to throw HP in there. Digital Reality, Equinix. We talked about them. Data center developers are cashing in, right? And we're going to talk more about that. Why this AI boom won't stop? The big question is because the big question is this just temporary surge or a sustained trend? Over $400 billion is expected into AI infrastructure for the next 12 months. And then by the end of 2030, they're expecting 1 trillion. Right? And it says this is not just big tech wants to dominate AI, it's a must. The competitive stakes are essential. That's why we saw people getting job offers for 1.4 billion, $100 million sign-on bonuses before the ink even dries. The bottom line on AI stocks and so forth. So again, you could take this for what it's worth, but the meat and potatoes of what I gave of what was said here is really in this. These are your skill sets that's going to last you at least 5 to 10 years. These are the skill sets that are going to get you to get into a place and add skill sets and you'll start moving around. I talked about this on Wednesday, is understanding the business side of this. And that's why we do tech stocks and jobs. So you can understand the business side of everything. It's cool to get the skill set, but if you don't understand the business side, it doesn't help. John Davis, do you think air gap networks will increase due to quantum computers? I think there is a play there, and I actually have a thing here about quantum computing. Let's go. Since you asked, here you go. IBM, Google claim quantum computers are here after major breakthroughs. It doesn't feel like a dream anymore. All right, so let's blow this up some so you can read with me. The decade long quest to create a practical quantum computer is accelerating as major tech companies. This as major tech companies are closing in on designs that scale from small lab experiments to full working systems. IBM laid out a detailed plan for a large scale machine in June, filling in gaps from earlier concepts and declaring it was on track to build one by the end of the decade. It doesn't feel like a dream anymore, right? And go look at what is going into quantum computing as well too. Google was, which cleared one of the toughest technical obstacles last year, says it is confident it can produce an industrial scale system within the time frame, while AWS cautions that it could take 15 to 30 years before such machines are truly useful. Quantum computing, and this is why, look, listen to what they just said. It said cautions that it could take 15 to 30. We're at the beginning. We're at the beginning of talking about quantum. So imagine if you're teaching yourself now, and you're teaching your children now about quantum computing and infrastructure and so forth. Give them 10 years by the time they graduate elementary school, high school, or whatnot. They're gonna be well advanced, well ahead, right? Well ahead, right? It says quantum computing is a new kind of computing that doesn't just take zeros and ones today, but it uses qubits, tiny quantum bits, and zeros and ones. And you can get a quantum computer desktop right now. It's gonna cost you though. The spin Q right here. All right, so you have this one. You have that little one right there, that spin Q one, quantum computing in the cloud and so forth. Now you ask yourself, well, what are you going to do with it? Well, you get it, you buy it. What are you going to do with it? This is where you get creative as a person and figure out, like, okay, what can I solve quicker? What can I lend my thoughts to help solve a problem? What's the business value that I have for this, right? So again, will I think quantum computers become a thing like sitting on your desktop at some point? Yes. You already have AI in your phone. We're already there. Right. All right. So I'm gonna just go down the line of my browsers. All right. Mercedes Benz has a Vision V concept, is a private jet on wheels. Here's their new concept car that they have right now. Let me see if we can blow this up here. Oh, that's awesome. That's what it looks like so far. This is their new I guess this is their, I guess this their concept for like almost like a mattress too. It look like they took the mattress and beefed it up. Solar panels on top. That's the interior sitting down. These will be haircut vans pretty soon. Hold on, let's see if we can get a video. They're talking, but you can just you can just see the inside of it. Speaker, he's saying that You can unshade these. You can see it unshaded. So you this will be your new party van, right? Out of road. All right. So here it is on YouTube too. The experience. I'm not gonna uh play the sound. I'm gonna just let it do its thing here. So again, it's got a looks like got a TV coming up out of the back. So you can watch TV back there and look right here. We it seems like we got speakers for it too. Yeah, business meeting on wheels, yes. And they've integrated Teams into uh the new Mercedes Benz. So now you can watch Teams in here as well too. You can have your video while you're sitting in the back riding, talking to your whole staff or what have you, while you're in the back, having somebody drive. Let me get through it here because it looks like it's still on the TV stuff. Here, let's go through it. Oh, that looks like yeah, that look like something like you kind of chilling some wine or something like that. Oh, that's a chess thing. That's chess. So I guess if you want to take out and play chess, let's go. Light show. Oh, you can see them in the thing sitting in the chair. You can see them sitting in the chair right here in the reflection here. Looks like he got an iPad to control it. It turned into a little fireplace. That's cool. And then let it back down. That's where we're at, people. This is what we're doing now. All right, next up, Oracle and Google now strike a deal. Oracle and Google now strike a deal. Before it was Oracle and OpenAI. Oracle just won't die. I don't know why. They just don't die. Oracle Google Cloud units strike a deal for Oracle to sell Gemini models. All right, so let me blow this up. August the 14th, Oracle and Alphabet said on Thursday their cloud computing units have struck a deal to offer Google's Gemini artificial intelligence models through Oracle's cloud computing services and business applications. The deal, similar to the one Oracle struck with Elon Musk XAI in June, will let software developers tap Google models to generate text, video, images, and audio. Business that use Oracle various applications for corporate finances, human resources, supply chain planning will also be able to choose Google models inside those apps. So now we got Google models inside of Oracle's cloud as well. All right, let's scroll up. So here, I wanted to highlight this. Um, I'm not going to go through this, but they're changing for federal workers your retirement benefits. All right, so there's a new proposal out there, and this is as of August the 14th. So this is new. This is new, and there is possible extension of some of this bill extending out to civilians. All right. So they're saying a sweeping proposal could extend federal retirement system level pensions to the private sector, reshaping how Americans plan for retirement. Let's blow this up. Like I said, I'm just going down the line. These are things that I found interesting, and I'm bringing them to you. We're going to talk about some skill sets too that I think you just need to highlight. All right. Any federal employees ask me when will they be eligible for full retirement? I prefer the phrase finally financially ready for retirement. The point when the income from all retirement sources covers your expenses and you have reserves for emergencies. The income might come from a mix, and that reminds me. Let me pull up a video that I think you guys should watch. I'm gonna post that video on the community wall. Don't let me forget that. Comes with a mix of a federal pension, Social Security, and other defined benefits such as military and private sector pensions, and personal savings in the thrift savings plan or an IRA. In the private sector, many workers must prepare for retirement without a defined benefit plan, relying on Social Security and personal savings alone. For both groups, working longer can allow benefits and savings to grow. Defined benefit versus defined contribution. The defined benefit plans calculate benefits from a formula used on based on salary and years of service. The first retirement benefit is one example. A defined contribution plans to not use a formula but are funded by employer employee contributions with the benefits based on an account growth. The TSP is a defined contribution plan. Sanders Pension for All Act. On July 17, Bernie Sanders introduced the Pensions for All Act. The bill would require all employers to offer a retirement program with benefits equivalent to FERS for all employees to participate in FERS. Senators called the current system rigged and said corporations do not provide a traditional pension should allow their workers the same type of pension members of Congress receives. It says the private sector pension declined. Kodak just stopped theirs. They just stopped their pension this week, so they're converting people over as well too. But again, they're talking about the private sector, the pension decline, a century of federal retirement, and then they said early retirement and the road ahead. It's unclear whether the federal and private sector retirement benefits will merge, federal and private sector. The goal of the Sanders bill is to strengthen the retirement security for all workers, but Social Security faces a more urgent challenge, and trust fund is projected to run out in 2034, cutting potentially triggering a 20% cut in benefits for many Americans, both federal and private sector. That could make an achieving full retirement even harder. UBI comes into mind. So keep in mind there is a bill out there that could affect retirement for not just federal but also for private as well too. So keep that in mind. Next one. Data centers are becoming a burning platform, requiring new ways of cooling, right? Remember, I just talked about this, but again, they're going to look for new ways to cool data centers. What is that going to look like as we continue to cool these data centers, as we build these data centers? What does that look like? It says cooling needs and total power usage restrictably linked. Power hungry hyperscalers are expected to spend more than 1 trillion in capex over the next 5 years, with thermal design as a primary gating factor. During the same US period, the data center demand is projected to triple from 25 gigawatts to 80 gigawatts, rising from 4.4% to 12% of the national electricity consumption. Europe expects IT load growth from 10 gigawatts to 35 gigawatts. Put simply, hyperscale growth is a driving grid for re-architecture, right? So how do we re-architect data centers? We don't just put data centers down anymore. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of work that go into building out a data center, including the roofing, what you got to put in, what the fans, the way air flows, the whole nine, the consumption, and everything. Even when they scale. It says here, liquid cooling spending is expected to exceed 61 billion by 2029, even as a die level and full tank immersion systems face scalability and maintenance constraints. Right. Um, let's look at this right here. Let's go here and do this. Let me do this. So what I did was, what I wanted to do was, I don't know where that went. Went somewhere. Uh, Let me go back and do it again. What I wanted was to show you full tank immersion examples of data centers. All right, so in unison, let's see if we get some images on what that looks like. All right, here's a good one right here. Immersion cooling to offset data center massive powers and so massive data centers and so forth. So this is what you're gonna see now at more as a tech engineer putting these together. That's what you're gonna start seeing more of. Right? Look at that right there. Right? Look at this right here. I don't want to do that. But look at that data. Look at that right there. Immersive cooling. Right? And this is the one from Shell right here. Immersive cooling technology. Right? So keep in mind of these things right here. You're gonna start to see and probably more and more of this. This is from 2024 right here, where they got the immersive cooling in the racks, dielectric fluids, enclosure design, cooling infrastructure, enhancing cooling efficiency, reduce energy consumption, optimize performance, space efficiency, um, and also scalability. So immersive cooling. What are the health issues for working in a data center? Depends. Depends. I'm sure they got some type of protection in place, but they don't know the full outcome of that. All right, yep. So over 100 employees lose their jobs as Texas auto company closes. Do you know what company that was? One of my favorites, Car Gurus. They had made the announcement back in October, but now they're officially shutting it on down. Car Gurus. Who would have thunk it? Less than 2 years as the car offer was officially acquired by Car Gurus, a digital platform for new and used vehicles headquartered in Boston. Car Gurus first bought a 51% stake into the company. Now they bought their stake, and now it's about to die. Now I see somebody coming in to swoop them in and save them. Maybe Kelly Blue Book or somebody like that will come in and save them. Who knows? Next up, buying $10,000 worth of Palantir stock. Do you think it's worth it? Put a yes in the comments if you think it's worth it, or right now, or no. I'm interested. It says Palantir stock climbed more than 18-fold since its last direct listing. The company is seeing accelerating revenue with expanding operating margins. There is a big hurdle standing in the way of continued increase in the stock price of it. I see some yes out there. All right, let's see what they say. All right, if you bought $10,000 worth of Palantir stock in 2020, then the first share when the shares first hit the market, you would have close to $187,000. That's not bad in 5 years. That kind of money can create a solid foundation toward building a $1 million portfolio. Even if Palantir stock meets the average return of the S&P 500, keeping those shares for 15 to 20 years could result in a shareholder reaching millionaire status. But a lot of people missed the boat on Palantir. The company stock zoomed higher since late 2022 as generative AI help expand its capabilities and so forth. While I'm sitting here thinking about it, do let's go and do what we like to do. Let's go to Google Finance. Let me see something here. Now, if let's look at Microsoft um, here, and let's look at a 5 year run for Microsoft. So if in 20, I guess this will be, yeah, in 2020, it was 208 on August the 14th. It is now 5 years later, and it has doubled. So um, let's do. Let me see if I can find a calculator. All right, let's go. So let's say um uh what was Microsoft price? Microsoft price in 2000 was $13.28. And let's say step one, invest. We're gonna go with 10,000, right? And then select a date. Let's say in 2000. Gonna let me go back that far? Yeah. And let's go with August of 14th of 2000. And reinvest dividends monthly. I just say reinvest dividends. See. Let me see what it does. I haven't never used this calculator before. I just want to see what it does. Okay. It says if you invested $10,000 in Microsoft on April the 14th, you would now have $234,000. That's if you invested 10,000. So let's go back, and let's see what Google was. So Google didn't come out to 2004. And the price for Google at that time was $85 to stop begin trading August the 19th of 2004 at a price per $100 per share and close at 134 due to the stock splits over the years. The IPO price as of 2025 is now uh $2.13. That's not right. Let's see. Historical, because we got Alphabet and we got Google. Let me look. I'm reading through the stuff here. Average stock price, $6.09 in 2005, and then in 2025 it's $175. And this is what uh I think a lot of people miss out on is the way to invest just over the years. So here we go right here. Right. So this is Google from 2004, and you can change the date here. Um let's go let me go. Let's go. I think it come out to 2004, so let me come back now. Let's go with 2005 of August. All right, cool. All right, and then let's go until August of this year. Okay, so these is showing you the stock splits over time. It's also showing you the volume. It's also showing you what the highs and lows are of that. And you can literally type in what it was at that time back in 2004. At that time, it was $7.12. $7.12. So you can go GOOGL, and then you can say you invested $10,000, and then you can come in here, select the date of select date. Um, let's go here and go back to 2005. I was on the right one there. Of August, we'll say we'll do the 15th because that's different. Calculate 288,000. If you bought 10,000 back in. Well, congratulations on your promotion. I I hope I helped. I take all the credit I can get. Yes, I'm congratulations on your promotion. I hope you can continue to invest and increase your income at the same time. All right. So as you can see, if we take this same thought process, let's run with Palantir, right? Let's go back, and it's a PLTR. Let's go with it. Let's go with $10,000, and when did Palantir come out? Um, let's go with let me see. Came out in 2019 at $10. So let's say you did this in 2021. Say after COVID, let's go with 2022. Give you an extra year. And let's go with 2022. And it looks like it came out on a Wednesday, January the 23rd. Let's go with February. Or we'll go with January. And it came out on the 23rd. So no. Yeah, yeah. So let's go somewhere here. And then let's calculate. 138. And Palantir closing price on Friday was $177. Palantir was $177. It was just $10 just a week ago. So this is what Palantir runs looks like over the past um 4 years. This is what it looks like. So if you would have got in around any time between 2021 and 2024, you were fine. Now It was up at 186 at one point, but closed at 177. All right. This is what we mean about understanding the market. Now, when I say that, what does Palantir do? Does anybody know what type of company? What type of company is Amazon? What kind of company do y'all think Amazon is? And what kind of company do you think Palantir is? Put in the comments what kind of company. Is it a cloud company? Is it an e-commerce company? Is it a car company? What do you think Palantir? What type of company do you think Palantir is? If you're doing the RCSA, you're fine. Mm. So Kiara, Amazon prides themselves on being an e-commerce company. Actually. So I looked up Palantir. Palantir is a software company specializing in big data analysis and data integration. Let me type in Amazon. They call it Amazon is a multinational company that primarily focuses on e-commerce. Yeah, their primary focus is on e-commerce, cloud computing, digital streaming, and artificial intelligence. Yep, I know they pride themselves on e-commerce. So that's why I say you have to go and like when people think about Amazon, they think about, oh, I need to buy something, or maybe the cloud services. But they pride themselves on being an e-commerce company. Now, they do multiple things, right? It's the same way with when you're thinking about Apple. What do you think Apple called themselves? What kind of company is Apple? I know you guys gonna think it's like a phone company, all right? But according to them, Apple is a multinational company that designs, develops, and sells consumer electronics, computer software, and online services. It's a major player in the information technology sector with a strong focus on hardware like iPhones, iPads, Macs, and as well as software for so beyond hardware and software. Apple also offers online service. So if you look at it, you could probably say Apple is a hardware company if you wanted to. It could be both. It could be hardware and software. Yeah, I would go with a hardware for that gear, but I also would go with software because they do make their own stuff, but they also make chips. Still falls under hardware, but again, right? So when we start talking about what do these companies do and why do we invest in them, it's it is it is it is also you need to think about who uses them outside of us consumers using them. What major company does Raytheon use? Apple? Does Raytheon use AWS? Like, who uses these products from a government standpoint, and why they're using them, and how they're using them? That's gonna kind of drive you a little more to understand the investment side of it. All right. Okay. So see, hold on. Um, all right. So here's an aerospace and defense ETF list in case you all have never ever thought about this. All right. So here is a whole list of basically ETFs that follow the defense industry. And you could take a look at these if you want to. I'll give this to D, but you can look and see what they're doing. You can go follow what's in them and so forth. And take and see what companies are in these ETFs, and then go look and see what the companies actually do. So here we go. I'll give this to D. All right. So one second. All right. So let's go back over to here. Talked about Palantir. I showed you a different view. They're saying 10,000. If you bought $10,000 in 2020, it'll be worth 187,000. That kind of money is great for building up a million. But would you do it now? Would you put 10,000 into now? My advice would be if you have it, yes. However, it's a gamble. It's all a gamble. But if you don't want to gamble, go look and see what they're doing, what they're investing in, what is their next goal, what's their next angle. Buy a couple of shares. Go to the earnings calls. Go look and see what they're doing. Um, Let me look up here. Um, so you can come right here on YouTube and look up Palantir's earnings call. Um, there was a string Q2 webcast that was 11 days ago. Um, Go take a listen to it. Go see what they're doing. Palantir reports 1 billion in revenue for the first time. 1 billion. So, you know, what does your money look like if you take 10,000 and invest it in 5 years? What does it look like? That's what that is. All right. All right. So, all right. IBM Research AI Hardware Center is building tomorrow's processors. So IBM AI Hardware Center, before ChatGPT broadened the public awareness of generative AI, IBM executives had to explain to business why they should care about AI. Now the question tends to be how quickly IBM can help companies deploy AI, right? So they're looking to deploy AI. So they're looking for tapping into IBM. So in service of the goal, AI Hardware Center is excited to offer access to leading edge research hardware to partners who want to help refine the software stack, as well as members who want to develop AI chips. Set the center program. So there's a program that's coming out. Let's scroll up. So let's see, and in April of this year, IBM announced that the Telum 2 processor onboard AI accelerator could help Accelerate the Spy Accelerator will be available in the Z17. So let me look and see. Okay. The AI Center hardware launched in 2019. So this was back in 2019. IBM was already on it. And so I'm assuming there's probably some course out there that IBM is probably hosting. Probably have to look that up. Let me look. So here's the AI Hardware Center. It's a global research. It's in Albany, New York. The center is focused on enabling next generation chips and so forth. So those that are probably working in research on a PhD or something like that will probably work here. Um, Let me look here. Let's see. So AI hardware. So IBM released um, information about what is AI hardware. What does that look like? Benefits of it, so forth and so on. Again, this is where you're gonna start finding out who is helping. TPUs, GPUs, ASICs, FPGAs. There's the Telum, AI hardware use cases, autonomous vehicles, edge computing, and edge AI, generative AI. So just understand the use cases and the hardware behind it. Trust me, it's going to take you a long way. All right. So now this one was Raytheon wins another major military contract. They won 258 million contract for the Navy to develop defense system that protects ships against enemy aircraft. The new contract comes on the heels of a $344 million contract. So you ask me who's hiring? Raytheon in Tucson is hiring. Raytheon in Tucson is hiring. If you want to move to Arizona, the work is to be completed by 2031. So when 2025, that gets you 6 years. Yeah, Google Finance is a resource, yes. All right. So that gets you 6 years on a contract. Well, five and a half because we're already halfway through 2025. All right. Idaho, the Department of Energy announces a plan for an AI data center near ARCO. Right, the Department of Energy. You know that group that had $100 billion to spend. Yep, they're back. The U.S. Department of Energy in late July announced that it has selected four department-owned sites, including Idaho National Laboratory, East Arco, to move forward with developing large new artificial intelligence data centers. The other federal nominated for development are Oak Ridge Reservation and in Tennessee, Padacha gaseous diffusion plant in Kentucky, and the Savannah River site in South Carolina. DOE looks forward to working with data center developers, energy companies, and broader public in consultation with the states, local governments, and federally recognized tribes that these projects will serve further advance this important initiative. So if you're looking for work, the DOE is looking to hire, right? And they're also in partnership with those companies that will help build out these data centers as well too. Somebody got to build them, somebody got to maintain them, and somebody got to keep them clean. So it's all kind of jobs out there. Pudaka, is that how you say it? Well, We're gonna chop it up and say that you're right. Hold on before we get into the messiness. All right. I don't know. Has anybody been keeping up with what Apple has been doing with the super intelligence here? So called Apple Intelligence. Apple's branded AI initiative, Apple Intelligence has delivered more than 20 features, including visual intelligence, photo cleanup, and advanced writing tools. Right. Cook noted that the company is making good progress on more personalized Siri, a feature he says is slated to be released in 2026. So there you go. Right. There you go. You wanted AI growth in the phone. There you go. But it's not gonna stop people from using it if you guys don't get what you call it, if you don't get AI on your phone, you're not gonna die. You didn't have it all these decades. All right, let's go be messy real quick. All right, my father was worth millions. I suspect my mother is stealing my inheritance. What can I do? My mother said there was nothing left for us when I was on my own, so I took it at face value and created my life from the ground up. All right, cool. Dear Quentin, I have a parent who passed many years ago when I was still in college. I grew up in what I would call an upper middle class household. But as I gotten older, I realized I did in fact grow up in a very nice home, private schools, wonderful education, vacation homes, etc. However, when my dad passed away, everything stopped. Mind you, this was early 2000 before the internet and such. My mother said there was nothing left for us, and I was on my own. So I took it at face value and created a life of my own. After my father passed, she kicked us to the curb, not only financially, but also emotionally and as a parent. I created a pretty good life for myself. I'm a GS-14 DOD worker and have a rewarding life. As I've gotten older, I discovered my father did have quite a large estate, 3 million to 4 million. My brother was not mentioned in my father's will since it was written and registered before he was born. It seems there are still accounts out there in my name, and my mother is drawing from them. Hence, the occasional need for her to confirm security questions. We are not close. After my father passed, she kicked us to the curb, not only financially, but also emotionally as a parent. Even though I was 20 when he died, I grew up in a family where we were very close. So it was quite jarring. I had to quit school for many years to even figure out how to live and survive. The daughter. Mm, mm, mm. Let's get into it. You did survive. You're looking in the rearview mirror, and as the old saying goes, some objects appear closer. They include your father's wealth, your mother access to his assets, and the estrangement that has taken a hold of your family in the wake of his death. There's a lot of pain in your letter, and it's manifesting itself through his financial lens. You have three problems: a will that should have gone through probate, assuming such a will even existed, suspicions, but no proof that have been named a beneficiary on some of your father's accounts, and the statute of limitations on any ability to contest the settling of your father's estate. In New Jersey and California, in most cases, the statute of limitations for will contest after probate is open and is just for 4 months. For those who reside outside of New Jersey at the time of the will's probate, a little extra time is added. People outside of Jersey have 6 months to issue a formal contest of a will. After this period, you cannot challenge the will or try to claim any portion of the deceased assets it adds. 4 months might seem like a very short amount of time, but the good news is that you do have a little extra time for special circumstances. A judge may rule to allow a will change after the statute of limitations have passed. It says an executor who does not send out a notice that the will has been probated to all the deceased next of kin and beneficiary. In one such region, the law firm says any sort of fraud, neglect, or improper conduct during the probate period may lead to an extension of on the time limit for will contests. Your brother would have had legal standing to contest the will as a pretermitted heir. I get it. A child who was born on or adopted after the will was executed, however, given that your father died in early 2000, 25 years later far exceeds the statute of limitations. It also says here the person was entitled to receive a share of the estate equivalent to what they have received if the descendant had died intestate without a will. A California attorney based this Mark Ruiz said as a California attorney based in San Francisco. The law ensures that the terminated, I don't know why I want to say premeditated, pretermitted heir is treated fairly and receives a portion of the estate as if there was no will in place. While the law generally permits the heirs, there are exceptions and limitations. For instance, if it can be proven that the omission was intentional, or if the pretermitted heir received property outside of the will, they may not be entitled to an estate share. If your brother was a minor, when the father died, the ability to challenge a will is usually put on hold. Now, this is the problem with the will part that I keep talking about. You guys can make a will, but the will still has to go through probate. And the problem with that is, and this is just me talking to other people, when you all have siblings, that's when the whole everybody I talk to, everybody's like, this is when it's a problem. So if you're not properly making your will and actually giving people or giving directions, let me say it that way. If you're not giving straight directions, it's a wrap. You guys gonna be in probate, you're gonna be arguing, and don't let it be people who don't get along or people who do get along and maybe two people get along and one other person don't get along. It's a problem. So when you guys are making your wills, make sure you make a trust and leave instructions, right? It says the bottom line, you are a survivor and you created a financially independent life for yourself in the years since your father's death. If you truly believe your father's wishes have been ignored, you can contact the probate court in the county where your father lived to access public copy of any will in existence. Again, you can contact probate court as well, right? Notifications of beneficiaries. Banks don't necessarily have an obligation to seek out beneficiaries. If a bank had a reason to believe someone is unaware they are beneficiary, if the beneficiary is a minor or otherwise has no knowledge of the account, the bank could choose to take steps to ensure that the beneficiary is aware of their rights, although this is not a statutory requirement. It seems improbable that your mother would have control over an account and have online access. If the account was in your father's name alone, you were listed as a beneficiary. The executor and administrator of your father's will would have notified the financial institution of your father's passing and presented a death certificate. Depending on where she lives, your mother would have been able to claim an elective share of his estate. You could hire a lawyer and contact your father's bank and even if she contacts her father's bank, they're not gonna talk to her if she's not beneficiary. And or contact his then lawyer if they're still practicing. If there is an accountant that has been lying dormant for this time, they should be able they should be able to locate it. Upon contacting the bank, it has a duty to transfer funds to the beneficiary after the account holder's death. Yeah, it's a duty. They just send you the paperwork in the mail. And what I seen, if the paperwork goes to the house of where the person who's deceased is who is deceased lives. So if you don't have access to their mailbox, you're screwed. Right? My suspicion is that you're conflating the breakdown of your relationship with your mother since your father death with financial skullduggery. Keep in mind that many states have rules that make it difficult and impossible to completely disinherit a spouse. It's highly unlikely an attorney would have suppressed your father's will. Depending on where she lives, your mother would have been able to claim an elective of his estate, and the amount which depends on how long they were married. This applies to even if your father had explicitly disinherited his wife. The elective share is still valid even if your father simply omitted your mother from his will. So, fellas, ladies, take notes. Even if you have didn't write someone into the will, there's they can still get an elective share valid even if your father simply omitted your mom from the will. If you believe your mother or anyone can has used your personal information or social security number to open an account or borrow in any or impersonate you or log into all three major credit bureaus, you can find it out. Talk to your mother, talk to the bank, talk to the probate court, and then let it go. What would you do in this situation? It's your own mother. There was your mother and your father. Your father passed away. Your mom didn't tell you that there was some money out there, but you slowly have found out over the years that it was an estate left, 3 to 4 million. What would you do? Yeah, I don't want to talk about that one. I think that was it. Let me double verify. Make sure that's all my news for today, except for one other thing. Oh, so Lockheed Martin is open a large missile assembly building in Cortland early in 2026. This is in Alabama. They are opening up a new spot. They already it's supposed to be opening in 2026. So that means there's jobs coming to Cortland, Alabama, for work. Currently, they have 400 people working in Cortland. Lockheed Martin said is expects to increase its workforce in 2026 following the opening of the new building. So again, Lockheed Martin is expanding in Cortland, Alabama. Let me look at this. All right, so here in Atlanta, company files for Project Turbo data center campus outside of Atlanta, Georgia. 9,000 square feet campus planned in Gainesville. Plans have been filed for a new data center campus outside of Atlanta. It's a mystery company. Though not all details are available, the company has filed to develop a 900,000 square foot of space across multiple buildings on Old Kelly Road in Gainesville, some 55 miles northeast of Atlanta. The company aims to complete the first phase in 2027. You can go check it out on their website. The developer also applied for additional permit use for a data center from Hall County as well to rezone a 19-acre tract property planned industrial development to light industrial. The company's planning commission is due September the 2nd. So some more data centers coming your way in Atlanta on the outskirts, which means they'll probably start expanding in those cities. That means they'll probably build new houses. That probably means road construction, electricity, and so forth. Right? That's what that means. And before we get out of here, I always want to do one job before we go. One job before we go. All right. Lados is hiring for a Red Hat system administrator. It is in Boston. It is in Baltimore. Um, Daytime, no remote. They are probably sponsoring this public trust clearance. So if you want to get in the clearance game, this would be a way to get in. They are looking for a senior Red Hat Linux administrator. Let me blow this up. So understand satellite server and patch management, Red Hat Ansible platform, Ansible integrate with satellite server and VMware, playbooks, projects, templates with Ansible, test all created Ansible automation platform playbooks, utilize Git, update system process documentations, user guide diagrams, and standard operating procedures, assist in troubleshooting and resolving issues related to Linux boxes performance, health, and configuration. They're looking for someone who got the RHCSA. When you see the minimum of 12 years, still apply if you got an RHCSA and you got your Security Plus. Still apply. Demonstrated knowledge of experience with Red Hat patching, proven experience of troubleshooting, understand VMware and Tomcat, experience integrating custom off-the-shelf software with Red Hat, in other words, installing applications. Understand Git, understand verbal, written communication, and must be able to um, obtain and maintain a public trust security clearance. This is what you want. This is your four-way, right? The pay range is from 112,000 to 203,000. That's as a senior Linux admin. As a senior Linux admin in this job, you can make 200,000. You get your RHCSA, you keep your nose clean, make sure your credit is up to par. Make sure you don't hang out with Shanae and Pookie, because you can't put them on your as people that you know on your background investigation. Find people who are clean. I would apply. What they gonna say? No, apply. All right, apply. So here, see what we get. So I just put public trust in here. Let me just put public trust and put it in double quotes. All right. So I put in double quotes. My assumption is these should probably be returning me jobs that are only looking for public trust. Let me scroll down here. I'll see it on here. Senior Linux Administrator, Bethesda. Yeah, must be able to pass a background. There you go, right there. All right. So this one is $65 to $75 an hour. All right. And you can come here and calculate that yourself. So we're gonna go with 70 an hour and multiply that by 40. Multiply that by 4. Then multiply that by 12. It's 134,000 a year. What you would get. Yep. Yeah. It's right there in black and white for you there. The people's corner. Like, I don't, yeah, no need. You can see there's a range, right? You see the one that I just showed you is 200, and you can see this one is from 65 to 70, but it still falls in that range from the 112 to 170. I've told you guys before, if they're offering 170,000, I mean 203,000 plus the 112 and divide that by 2, this is what they're gonna offer from the jump. Now you know there's still at least almost almost 50,000 left on the table, more like, you know, on the table there. Right. So I just went through and typed in um this public trust right here. You can come in here and type in red hat. Right. And so when you type in red hat, you see that it's pulling back red hat, the company here. But here's all the jobs that they're offering under red hat. And you can see the pay on those. Right. A strategic account executive, national security programs, 216 to 358. Open shift, 116 to 191. A principal software engineer, 163 to 269. Right. You can even take this one step further and type in open shift, hit search, and here's where you see your open shifts, uh, sysadmins, um, and just look at what the different companies what they're offering and so forth. And then if you want to be froggy, you can come in and do open shift and you say you don't want no jobs that's under 300,000 and then hit search and it'll pull back jobs that are over 300,000 for you. Super intelligence infrastructure with open AI, 393. Right. What is a super intelligence infrastructure person? You will operate at the intersection of engineering, legal, and finance and operations to maintain high value negotiations, optimizing capital deployment, and guiding site level energy decisions that will shape open AI infrastructure for years. And then you got another one that is a engineering manager, 325 to 405. Right. Let's go. Let's go play the game real quick. Let's do this way. What companies? All right. So my prompt was, what companies demand Red Hat Linux administrators, OpenShift, and Ansible skill set, and please give salary ranges. So here are the companies that they came out with, and it's scoured. The reason why I did is I wanted it to scour for me. Indeed, the ladders. And it came back with OpenShift from 94 to 151. Ansible software engineer, a consultant here. The broader markets range for OpenShift from Red Hat certified from 104 to 142, entry level at 119, senior at 124. And this is based on salary.com, which I don't like because I think salary.com has very low stats personally. Zip recruiters, pulling back that system administrator, Ansible skills. Well, pay scale says this, but I know they're higher. But if you just want to use this as a guide, a very loose guide. Red Hat certified RHCSA, RHCE, from 190 to 110, 130 to 150. Other employers include Andrill, OpenShift, or Linux admin roles. List salaries that depend on the position, seniority, fall within the above benchmarks or job boards like Indeed, government defense roles, and then technical manager. And then they broke it down here as a diagram or a table, I should say, so you can see for yourself. And then they go into a breakdown here, right? So that's just overall, just to get started. But we've seen them at 200, and I showed you that. So you have your own range that you can look at and see where they're coming up with. But can you get a Linux sysadmin job at 200? Yes. Let's type in RACSA, or I should say Red Hat, and I should do Linux admin, and then I should do 200, and then we'll hit search. All right, so here you go. Senior sysadmin, senior sysadmin. When they say sysadmins, that's probably a combination of both. But you can see here, classified Linux system administrator at John Hopkins Applied Lab. The ranges from 90,000 to 350,000. And somebody will tell you that these jobs don't exist, or what have you. So, um, yeah. And let's see what they're looking at right here. SOPs, classified environment, Stigs, blah 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 blah, master's degree. If you got one, apply to work there, blah blah blah. Right? And they're based out of Baltimore, right? So again, 90 to 350, that range is huge. So we'll do 90,000 plus 350,000. That's a huge range. And divide that by two. So 220 is what they could offer. But I mean, if you're a top candidate, you know what you're talking about, you know how to do business because you've learned, you could get to 350. And so that 350,000 for a year divided by 12, you would net, you would not net, you would gross 29,000 a month. That would be your gross. Basically, divide that in half is what you'll really take home. So you probably take home about 15 a month, give or take a few thousand. Probably more like 17, right? And you can figure that out by doing 350. I think that still puts you in a point. I think it'd be 0.65. So I multiply by 0.65 is what you'll be taking home. Divide that by 12. So yeah, about 18,000 is what you'll be taking home. That'll be your monthly take home. About 18,000, 19,000, give or take, states. Right. So is it worth it to get the Linux, the RHCSA? Yes. Is it worth it to add skill sets to it? Absolutely. Is it worth it and for a long term value add? I can honestly say yes. Um but it really depends on where you see yourself at too, right? What do you see yourself in 5 years or 10 years? What do you want to have in those years? Which reminds me, I'm so glad I said something before we get out of here. I'm gonna hold this video for next week. Um, but I put it already out there in the creating wealth section. Um, I thought this was a very good video. Um, 64% never escape level 4, and he's talking about the different levels of um net worth. And I'll just quickly go over this next. Okay, so this is something that you guys probably could use as your own measure, and I like how he broke it down in this video. I haven't finished the video yet, but so those that are level 1, your net worth will be about $10,000. That's probably somebody in high school, right? Maybe saved up some money, maybe got a little inheritance or something like that. Level 2 is from $10,000 to $100,000. And then the next one is level 3, 100,000 to a million. And what the video says is 64% never escape the level 4. And level 4 is from 1 million to 10 million. And then you got 10 million to 100 million, and then more than 100 million. He's saying most people stick around this range right here because it's so huge. That's such a huge range, right? From 1 million to 10 million. All right. And you can check out this video. I think that video is a good video for you all to check out. Uh, when you start talking about net worth and what that looks like, what does it mean? How do you use these jobs that are paying 350,000 to utilize that for building your net worth? What are you going to do like to with that money? Like how do you how do you take that money, that 100 and that 350 million, I mean 350 million, 350,000, and make it work for you? All right. A lot of people say they will still live off of $5,000, but like we say, and realistically, you are gonna have some lifestyle creep. It just is what it is. Um, if you're making $20,000 a month, there's no way you're gonna tell me you're gonna continue to only shop at the thrift store um for all your clothes for for the rest of your life. You're going to go out and splurge. It's it's just what it is. I'm not saying you're gonna go buy something name brand. You may not go to the thrift store, but you may go to Macy's. You may go to Nordstrom's. You may go to some other store, right? You may be like, you know what? I'm no longer gonna keep buying Costco jeans. I'm gonna step out, and go buy something else, right? It just happens. And like he was saying in the video is you have to have balance. Like you're not going shopping every month for the latest and greatest new handbag or the latest and greatest new watch or whatnot. You may splurge 1 year and buy a watch, and you may not buy a watch for 10 more years. Right? So it's just something just to think about. Take a look at the videos posted in the Creating Wealth channel. I'm gonna review that video next week. I have my own thoughts on that video. I'm going to put together my I'll put together my I'll clone my pyramid, and we'll walk through that with my pyramid. All right, y'all. Y'all be safe.